welcome to Kate's Kitchen. Or, to be more specific, should I say, welcome to Misty's Kitchen.
Hi.
Tonight we're going to make Moroccan chicken with lentils and couscous. I'm going to show you some tips and techniques on how to stretch that food budget and make something that tastes great as well as very healthy. So let's get started. So Misty and I have been friends for about 5 or 6 years, and I've been coming over and cooking here for how long have we been doing the cooking lessons?
At least 4 to 4.5 years, because that's about the time period I actually started cooking.
Okay, so that's cool. Have you been using many of the things I've shown you, and do you cook with your husband as kind of a bonding?
Okay, so one of the first tips you gave me on cooking is before my husband and I had children, as you know, was that something you could do together was cook together for a romantic, affordable, in-home date night. And we do that frequently. And I think sometimes now that we have 2 small children, that feeding the kids, putting them in bed, and then getting together to fix a romantic meal is some of our favorite pastime to do. It's something we can interact together, and I love that. You know, it's nice to know that he's self-sufficient when I'm not around. He can cook for the children.
Well,
and all right, here's the chicken. Okay, that smells delicious. The only thing I know I can point out is I smell curry, because I have a thing for curry.
Okay, and Moroccan is very Indian, and I just want to show the camera. This has been marinating overnight.
Delicious.
This has been marinating overnight in what is called a Moroccan spice blend called Ras El Hanout.
Ras El Hanout. Okay.
And Ras El Hanout actually means top of the shop or best ingredients. The head shopkeeper in Morocco will go through and hand select the best ingredients. And a Moroccan spice blend could have upwards of 30 different ingredients.
Wow.
Ours has about 13. So we start with our mise en place. Do you remember what mise en place stands for?
Okay, Katie, I do. Mise en place. Everything in its place. And I don't know that I've told you this yet, but I know you remember I had a business trip to France last year, and I was studying a little French to go over there and do basic work and negotiations. But I used mise en place a couple of times, and they were very impressed that I knew what it meant.
Very good.
Yes.
I like that. You're welcome. All I'm doing here is dicing up 1 medium yellow onion in even sizes. You want them even so that they cook properly, evenly through.
And then get them the same size as the onion, roughly.
Well, trying to get them the same size as each other.
Okay.
So the onion cooks a little faster because it's not as dense. The carrot, because it is so dense, it will take a little bit longer, but I want them both to come out at the same time because I'm putting them in the pan at the same time.
I see.
So I've got 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. You could also use grapeseed oil if you wanted to. One thing to know about oil, no matter what oil it is, when you heat it up too hot past its heating point, it will turn into trans fat. So grapeseed oil has a much higher temperature, and that's why I like to use it, even though it's the same amount of calories as extra virgin olive oil. But extra virgin olive oil, for what we're doing, we're not heating it up too much. We're going to add our onion and carrots.
Okay, Katie, I have a question here. You mentioned if you heat the oil up too much, it turns into trans fat. I had no idea, so I may be doing that frequently. How do I know when I get the oil too hot?
When you see it start to smoke, that's too hot.
Okay.
And even in a deep fryer, a lot of the fast food joints, they use the oil over and over and over again, and it thins it out, and so there's a high likelihood that they've got trans fat, even though they say no trans fat on the label. And next we're just, after we've softened up the carrots and the onions, we're going to go ahead and add the garlic and the ginger. And that will make this very aromatic very quickly.
Oh, it smells delicious, Kate.
And now we're going to make room in the middle and add our chicken. And again, that's going to smell this house like crazy. It's gonna smell it up.
I think the baby might wake up and come downstairs for this. Yum.
And I'm just gonna spread that out a little bit and make sure that all the meat has a chance to sear. I'm gonna turn it up just a little bit and let that sear on each side for about 3 minutes each side. Just push on the lemon and roll it, and it'll help get the juice out. So now that that smells really good, doesn't it?
Smells so good.
Now that the chicken is cooked a little bit through, we're going to go ahead and add the juice of 1 lemon. I'm just letting it strain through my fingers so that we don't get any seeds in there.
That's a good tip. I frequently use lemon with chicken, and I end up having to pick the seeds out after we're sitting at the table.
You want to make sure your hands are clean, but other than that, it's a pretty easy trick. And then we're going to put our apricots, which have been chopped up, and our lentils. I'm using green lentils today, but you can use red lentils if you want. The red lentils will get a little bit softer and mushier. The green lentils are going to hold their shape better.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay.
We're putting all this together in one pan. Is this a one-pan dish?
It is, and that's the wonderful thing.
That's my favorite thing.
There's less to clean up, and it also, you get the flavors of everything. All the spices, anything that's been sticking to the pan, kind of like in a deglaze, we're going to take, in fact, our chicken broth. And I'm going to pour about 3/4 of this into here. And we're going to reserve the rest for when we add the couscous. And now I'm going to turn this up just a little bit. It's going to come up to a boil, and then I'm going to lower it to a simmer. So as that comes to a boil, you can see how beautiful and yellow that broth is. That's from the turmeric and from the other Moroccan spices. The lentils and the carrots are going to absorb a lot of that liquid, and so will the apricots. As we get closer, we'll add some couscous and a little bit more broth. Last but not least, we are going to add the couscous and raisins and the cilantro, which has been chopped, fresh cilantro. And couscous doubles, so I'm going to add the remaining 2 cups of chicken broth and bring that, stir that together, and I'm going to remove the heat and put the cover on it and just let that sit for 5 minutes, just like that. You just fluff it up like that. It absorbed all the nice moisture, and it is ready to plate, ready to eat. So we're all ready to plate. I know this is 4 portions, so I'm just going to quarter that off, make sure that I've got some meat in each quadrant, and then I'm going to scoop it out on the plate. We've got plenty of vegetables, lentils, and couscous in every portion, and you can see that you got a nice hearty portion here. We're going to be plenty full. This is a 1 plate meal. It's got your fast carb, your slow carb, and your protein all in one. And finish it off with a little bit of fresh cilantro. It looks beautiful, and it will taste great. So now we get to taste it. Take a piece of chicken, make sure I get plenty of the couscous and the lentils. Wow. That is so flavorful. You've got the cinnamon with the apricot, it's so sweet. And you've got the crunchiness, the slight al dente of the lentil. And the couscous is soft and pearly. And just all of the different spices and flavors are layered. They're so wonderful. This is a great one plate meal.
I have been looking forward to tasting this all night. So a little bit of it all. Okay. Katie, there are no words. This is delicious. This is definitely something I can see my family making probably on a weekly basis to get everything in, and the kids will love it.
So we just had a wonderful, tasty meal that was a one plate meal that ended up being, did you realize it was $2.50 per person per serving? And the reason it was so inexpensive is because I used the chicken breast from the whole cut up chicken and I made my own chicken broth.
That is right in the family budget. Had no idea. I couldn't get that at a nice restaurant.
No, you really
delicious.
couldn't. And the other thing is, even if you went ahead and spent the $3.99 per pound for boneless, skinless chicken breast, and even if you spent $3.49 per carton for chicken broth, it's still less than $5 per person. And that's $4.55. That's cheaper than a Happy Meal at McDonald's.
And that makes me feel better because sometimes I am in a hurry to come up with a quick meal. So I want it to be healthy, delicious, and affordable.
And was this healthy and delicious?
This was, oh, bon appetit. So delicious.
I really enjoyed cooking with Misty tonight and making the Moroccan chicken with couscous and lentils. This concludes another episode of Kate's Kitchen. Come on back next week.